What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we're here with the brand new Dear Swordsman event, which is where we have to take on the Gyukimaru boss fight and ultimately take on the KAMAZO boss fight, which is the ambush event that will happen as soon as you beat the Gyukimaru boss fight. This is very similar to last month's event where we had to take on the Kobe Christmas event, and then afterwards you would encounter, or a chance to encounter, the Christmas Hina ambush event. So it's essentially a one-for-one, like the exact same kind of event where you can access some Chopper Man missions here. There's actually some pretty decent missions. I can get some red posters. I've already completed a decent amount of them, but there's candy, there's rumble scrolls and stuff, gems. So you definitely want to go ahead and start completing this as time goes on throughout the next, 2 weeks, because it's here for 2 weeks, 14 days essentially. It says 13 left. It's 13 in a few hours. So yeah, it's going to be here for a long time. So you've got plenty of time to get through the event and make sure you max the characters that come alongside it. So if we go over to the character list, I can show you guys the 2 brand new characters that you'll be farming for. So the first one here is going to be Otoko. This character does not have any specific limit break materials. However, the limit break materials for the brand new Hiyori are only accessible by clearing the ambush KAMAZO. So that's what we're going to be going through in today's video. But first of all, talking about Otoko, she is a Dex Free Spirit shooter. Her captain effect is nothing too crazy. 2.75 attack, 10% damage reduction, nothing crazy there. 11 turn max cooldown will heal 20% of the crew's max HP, reduce bind and blind by 3 turns, and then boost color affinity of Dex and Quick by 1.75 for 1 turn. Not a terrible special, pretty decent for a free-to-play unit. You never know when you're going to need a unit like that, so quite nice. As for her crewmate effects, she does make quick slots beneficial to your crew if your captain is Dex or Quick, so that's actually a pretty decent crewmate effect as well, but nothing really too crazy for Otoko. And then we have Hiyori. So Hiyori is a Dex Cerebral Free Spirit. Captain effect is a 3x boost to Dex and Quick with a 1.2 recovery boost. And special ability, now this is not completely maxed out. When you get all of the limit break materials, she does get additional cooldown with her limit break, so that's nice. So it goes down a little bit further than this, but as for what it does, it heals the crew by 8 times her recovery at the end of the turn for 3 turns, kind of nice to have, and then boosts Dex and Quick characters attack by 1.75 for 1 turn. It changes block and unfavorable slots to matching, and if the crew has over a certain HP threshold, you basically cannot die for 1 turn. Now, I believe the threshold is 50% from what I found, so again, not a terrible special. Can actually be used in a decent amount of content, that's for sure. As for crewmate effects, makes Dex beneficial if your captain is Dex or Quick, and then also has a pretty interesting support effect attaching to Zoro or Toko. Once per quest, if the supported character uses their special, heal 2000, and for that support unit, change block and unfavorable slot on themselves to matching. So not a crazy support, but can definitely see play in certain situations there, which is okay. So that's the breakdown of these 2 brand new units, and these units are boosted in this event, so make sure if you are able to do it, to use these units in the team. They work very well with the brand new Super Type Zoro, as you guys are about to see in the team build that I have for you guys in this video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of the event. So very similar to the Kobe and the Hina event from last month, it's pretty much the same thing in the fact that the very first part of the event, so the 8-star difficulty quest that you play first, is actually pretty simple. And the most ideal way, from what I've seen and from what I understand so far, is the most ideal way to get through this is to be just using a Zoro front captain. And there's a couple reasons why. The main reason is because there's a lot of special bind in this event, and Zoro as a captain resists 10 turns of special bind for your team. So he's a perfect unit to use here. Another reason why is because of the final stage of the ambush quest. So not this quest against Gyukimaru, but the ambush quest against KAMAZO. He has an effect that will rewind all of your crewmate specials. So if your captain happens to be a Zoro unit, with his special ability, you can rewind the cooldowns of all of your characters. So that definitely helps out a bunch as well. Another thing to really note as well about the actual end fight against KAMAZO is you're not allowed to use an attack boost either, which is another reason why Zoro, again, is just like the perfect unit for it. But quickly speaking about Gyukimaru here, you can see that when you actually kill him, he will do a death damage to your team. I think it starts off at a base around 35 or 36,000. So if you're around 35 to 36,000, but you have like damage reduction sockets, it's gonna be fine. Worst case scenario would be to bring like Raid Bonnie, for example. I think the other 2 teams that you'll see, at least one of the teams you'll see in this video does have Raid Bonnie, and Raid Bonnie just gives you a full board of recovery slots, so you can actually utilize that to heal a little bit before you kill the Gyukimaru character, because he does have threshold damage reduction animation, so having a unit to remove that, such as Raid Bonnie, as I said, is a perfect unit, and definitely is one of the most recommended characters for this particular quest. But you're seeing for this Zoro quest team that I do have the Hiyori and the Otoko character from the actual event farming. I did use the other teams that you'll see in this video today to actually farm first to get my copies of Otoko and Hiyori, and when you play through the Gyukimaru event, you're going to get skill books to max the skill of the characters, which is really good. The actual ambush quest you're seeing here against KAMAZO is mainly to farm the limit break crystals of Hiyori. And another reason why you'd want to be playing the ambush quest is because the points that you get for clearing the ambush quest are much higher than what you get for clearing Gyukimaru. So as long as you've got some of the boosted units on your team, that will help you a lot in getting your Chopper Man mission rewards done faster, which ultimately gets you your rewards quicker, which is obviously what you want to be doing. Something to note is that the Roger and Odin batch are also fully boosted for this event. Well, not when I say fully boosted, I mean that they do get additional points for your team, so building a Roger-based team is something that you could definitely do, and is definitely a team that a lot of people are opting to go for. But of course, you know, having luckily enough pulled the new units, this is the team that I'll be running with. But if you guys need a much easier to build team, that is definitely the next team that we're coming up, which is the Dex Kaido team. And you know, if there's any content that releases for a Dex Legend and there's no normal attacks only, then Kaido's gonna be that guy. It happened a while back when we had the release of the I think it was the like when Legend Kid came out. When Legend Kid and Hawkins came out, there was content that became quick bosses, and because both Hawkins and also Kid had damaging effects, they didn't want to have normal attacks only, so Kaido was good for that. And once again, we have Zoro and Kaido, where there's an event where both of these units are really good at doing damage to the enemy, and because they want you to use those units, they're not going to have normal attacks only. So Kaido is going to be super great here, but we're not really talking about Kaido right here, we're just talking about Zoro for this time being right here. So Gyukimaru here is kind of annoying. He does paralyze your team. He gives you like 7 turns of attack down, so having a way to mitigate the amount of attack down that you get given is super ideal. Using support characters to remove the attack down, plus using specials to get rid of it. There's going to be a combination of supports and specials you guys will see upcoming on how to get around it a lot easier, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. But the new rare recruits Gyukimaru and KAMAZO are really nice for this fight. Of course, KAMAZO is great for the final stage against KAMAZO himself because of burn and increased defense on the enemy side of the field. And one thing to really note about KAMAZO that a lot of people might not know is that depending on how much health that you have on your team when you enter this room, it will actually depend on how much health KAMAZO revives at. So if you come into the room with not a lot of health, then he actually will revive with not a lot of health. So that's the thing, is you probably want to reach this final stage with as low health as possible, but if you are going to do that, you have to remember to remove the burn, because he does burn you, and if you have low HP, there's going to be a bit of a problem. Unless if your boosts on your team are astronomically high, you definitely want to be entering this room with relatively low health, and you can see in this situation here, he does revive with a pretty low HP pool, which does make it a lot easier to take down. But anyways, I'll leave you guys with the rest of this clip versus KAMAZO with the Zoro team. Absolutely amazing special animation, and we'll pick things up with a little bit of an easier team to build for most of you guys out there. And now we move on to the secondary team of the video, which is going to be using Dex Kaido, as mentioned previously. Now, a lot of people say, oh, do I have a replacement for the green Neptune? Because Neo Neptune has not been back on One Piece Treasure Cruise for a really long time, and I really hope they bring him back soon, because having this Neptune character that can basically do the exact same thing as regular Colosseum Neptune, but for a different class, is really useful, right? And plus he's a green unit, so he helps with Kaido teams for sure. But the answer is yes, there is a replacement, and that is literally just the original Neptune. Original Neptune will work just as fine, so you do not have to worry about that. For this team in particular, there's a couple of key support units. I do have a Legend Shirahoshi attached to Neptune, which gives him a rainbow slot, which is whatever, but the fact that that Shirahoshi also recovers some health for us is kind of nice, just in case if we needed an extra bit of padding against Gyukimaru, where he does his death hit, can be kind of nice to have. And the other key support unit is Rare Recruit Aladdin attached to Praline, which means that when Praline launches her special, Aladdin also changes slots in our team. It's very reminiscent of the V2 Jinbei effect, and if you guys remember when V2 Jinbei came out, essentially Praline does really good effects of removing enemies' defensive effects, but then also shuffles orbs to very specific order, and then if you have Aladdin support, he changes the other side of your team to a very specific order, and when you activate the rest of the specials, you'll essentially get a full board of matching slots, is the way that it kind of works out. So you have Rare Recruit King to get rid of the special bind, and also has special rewind as well, which is going to be useful in the final fight against KAMAZO. And Cracker, of course, gives us some matching slots. He gives us color affinity. He gives us a chain boost. All of that is ridiculously useful to have. And yeah, this Neptune, as I said, can be replaced with the other Neptune, the original Neptune, because the main reason why he's on the team is he's green. He gets type advantage, obviously. He's an orb booster for multiple turns, which is also very, very important. And he has very insane utility of removing Despair and Attack Down, both by 5 turns, so that's very, very nice to have. Against the ambush quest though, it's super easy because of Kaido's massive damage that he just does to all of these quick enemies here. It's really not a problem. If you guys want just an easy way to clear it, to get your copies of Hiyori and Otoko and get the limit break materials, this is a solid team to use. So I highly advise using it if you do need some sort of way to clear it, but it's not the best in terms of point boost, but in terms of clear rate, it's very effective. So I'll leave you guys with the rest of this clip, and we'll talk about the final team once we get to it, once Kaido absolutely decimates KAMAZO. And now we get to the final team of this video today, which is going to be utilizing Legend Kid, which is, I always love using Legend Kid, and, you know, he works perfectly with the brand new super type Zoro, because basically with Kid's super type, you do need a way to bring a unit on your team that is a supernova character. Now in this team, it kind of didn't matter because we had Bonnie on the team anyway, but obviously Zoro fits in that realm, which is nice. And then for Zoro's super type, we need a Straw Hat on the team, or Hiyori or Otoko. In this instance here, we have V1 Nami, which is great. So this team actually gets through it pretty easily, but do note that if you are deciding to use this team, that there's actually quite a lot of stalling that you need to do before you get to like the, you know, stage 3 and onwards, because some of the characters on the team obviously are not boosted, so you do need to get a little bit of stall in. And we are using the Moby Dick ship, I want to point that out as well. So we do get a full board of recovery slots at the start of the fight due to the Clash Bonnie's Sailor effect. We get a full board of recovery slots, so you can utilize utilize that to get some heal back, but ensuring that your cooldowns are ready to go is very important, and definitely important for the ambush quest that you guys will be seeing in a little bit. I actually did use this in an ambush a little earlier, before I actually got the winning run, and I actually didn't stall enough, and my Neptune was not ready when I needed it, and it just resulted in me losing the quest. So you do have to be very, very careful in installing and making sure specials are used at the right time. But essentially, once you reach this final stage, it's pretty easy from here on out. Now, one thing that you can actually do is if you per se like don't have a lot of HP left and you need to get some health back, you can actually use the Bonnie special first instead of me using the Zoro special and then the Kid special first. So if you do need some health back, you can use the Bonnie first, and then when you use Kid special, he won't change those slots into super bomb slots. So you'll get a lot of recovery slots to get some health back. And when you do use Bonnie special, she does boost your crew's recovery for 1 turn. So yeah, you do heal a lot back. And with all of these specials active, you have a 2x affinity, 2.5 orb boost, 2.5 attack boost. There's just a lot going on, so essentially you're gonna have enough damage either way, whether it's a super bomb slot or it's a recovery slot. You're gonna have enough damage no matter what, which is great. But as I said, you know, making sure that you stall enough for the ambush quest is gonna be the most important thing with this particular team. But actually, you know, once you get to like the final room and you activate all the specials correctly and you have the right HP pool and you're following correctly, it's pretty easy actually with this team. And because we are using Zoro as a friend captain, we do get a pretty decent multiplier because he is the highest point booster character in this event, alongside Super Type Kaido. But Super Type Kaido is not an ideal unit to use for this quest, but he actually can do it. I think I did see a team that was basically my V1 Zoro team, or V3 Zoro team at the very start of this video, but instead of Zoro as the captain, it was Kaido instead. I believe that should work. I haven't tested it though, so don't quote me on it, but I think that actually does work. But of course, you know, Zoro being the way that he is and the way that this event is structured, he's definitely the way to go with this quest. But that is going to wrap up this video today. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.